Sir, we will start exactly at 1 o'clock. Just wait for only 1 minute, sir.
A very good afternoon to all. I welcome all of you again to our second session of today. For this session, we have the privilege to have Dr. B.J. Shah, sir. I welcome sir on behalf of GEC Dahod. Sir is working as a principal in Government Engineering College, Modasa, and also as professor in Applied Mechanics Department. Sir is research supervisor of PhD students, and Sir has written 30 plus journal papers. Also, Sir has worked as an expert in various committees like AICTE and GTU, Gujarat Technological University. Sir has also worked as an officer on special duty of Admission Committee for Professional Courses ACPC and Fee Regulatory Committee FRC. Sir was honored by gold medal for securing highest marks in design of structure during his graduation. Sir has teaching experience of 30 years. Sir has also written a book on mechanics of solid published by Tata McGraw-Hill. Sir has expertise in courses like ANSYS, design of structure, bridge engineering, earthquake engineering, structural dynamics, and also expertise in softwares like STED Pro, SAP, ANSYS, and many more. Now, without taking much of your time, I would like to give my warmest welcome to Dr. B.J. Shah, sir, and I request sir to carry on with the session. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for the kind words. And good afternoon to all the participants of this FDP. I'm going to talk today on a topic of advances in concrete technology. Concrete, as you know, that for a civil engineering, right from the beginning of starting the profession or starting the career, we'll be we are talking about the word concrete. And we can say even not from the human civilization, but after getting some advancement, then concrete has started. So since long, from many years, I think we are all engineering, civil engineering people are working with the concrete. And time to time, a lot of changes are also taken place in the concrete. It has to be there because basically need as and when the need is arise, necessity is arised. There are always changes taken place. So that is why based on the need, time to time, whatever changes are taken place, concrete puts into a much and much better condition and better situation. So let us start with the what advancement has been taken place in the concrete and how it is going to be useful. Whatever modification, whatever changes are made in the concrete, that is for the people's benefit. So that is why we are going to talk about the things, and we are going to talk about the things, and then whatever changes and benefits which are useful to the mankind's, how it is going to be there, that we are going to discuss. So let us first of all, I will share my presentations, and we will going one by one with this presentation. So I'll be sharing my desktop, and let us see that how what kind of advancements are there in the concrete. Is my screen visible to everyone? Is it
Yes,
visible?
sir.
Yes, sir,
Yeah,
it
it's
is visible.
Okay. And I'm
yes,
audible
sir.
also? Perfectly audible?
Yes, sir, you are perfectly audible.
Yes.
Okay. So Let us start with the presentations of the topics on advances in concrete technology. Concrete, as we know, it is one of the construction material. And when we are talking about a construction material, of course, it is one of the very leading construction material. Concrete is a leading construction material. India is basically witnessing the constructions of very interesting projects in all the sectors of the infrastructures. We can see the high-rise structures, underground constructions, including residential, commercial, up to a height of even more than 300 meter, RCC chimney, thermal power stations, up to maybe 275 meter. That is above the ground. Even similarly below the ground also, we have many concrete underground concrete structures. But majority of the structures that are in the structural concrete. Varieties of the structures are there, but majority of them, if you will see, then concrete is involved in one or other way. The functional demand, that is the use of the durable material. Durability is a major concern in all the construction projects. And that is why the lot of evolution is taken place in the construction sectors, and particularly in the areas of the concrete. And time to time, the need of the concrete is also changed, and accordingly, some new forms of the concretes are to be used. Last 2 decades, if we have seen that there are many advances that is going to take place in the concrete, that is gaining a widespread acceptance, such as a high strength concrete, high performance concrete, self-compacting concrete, durable concrete, using PPC, fly ash, slag, and other mineral admixtures. Basically, durability has gained a much importance in the last 2 decades. Whichever structures constructed before 20 years, 30 years, 40 years back, they found a lot of, there is found a lot of deteriorations because of the lack of the durability concept, and that is why the need arises to go for such kind of the advances. Apart from basic structural material, the modern concrete projects requires various secondary types of the materials, secondary materials for varieties of the purpose, such as a construction chemicals, waterproofing materials. So there are varieties of such materials are used that can be a secondary materials that will be there. Just tell. So waterproofing, or chemical, and many more construction materials are used. But the main focus is the sustainable construction. That is the main focus of all the different construction materials which we are going to use it. So this new age that is demands requires the minimum harnessing of the natural resources, as well as recycling of the materials of the construction. So modern concrete not only restricted to reinforced concrete, prestressed concrete, but there is a widespread applications in the industrial. So industrial applications are there: highway, pavement, landscape development, extreme weather conditions. So widespread applications are there, and that is why the concretes are also to be used in a different different application. So concrete has to improve the appearance, improve its aesthetic appearance, basically to look slim, designer, and the colorful. So day by day, the aesthetics plays an important role, and initially we have seen the concrete, it looks very bulky, but nowadays people prefer to go for its aesthetic appearance, and it should also look slim, designer, colorful. So these are the different need arise as per the time, and time to time it evolves, concrete evolves with the basic need which is required for the human being. So new age concrete, it should have many features that is required. So let us see that which are the features, new features which are required in the new age concrete. So first thing is it should look slim and sleek. That is one of the basic requirement. As the people, human beings are also very conscious about their looks. They are looking for slim and sleek. So same way they preferred also that our concrete should also look slim as well as sleek. Beauty naturally it attracts the human being. This is one of the very important thing is the minimum water to reduce the water demand. See, there is always a crisis of the water, and that is why the minimum consumption of the water is required. Similarly, minimum or no cement to reduce the carbon emission. As we know, that in the process of making the cement, it involves the carbon emissions, and that is why this is one of the major concern to more concern about the environmental aspect or environmental issues. So that is why minimum or no cement to reduce the carbon emissions. Alternative raw material to reduce the use of natural resources. There is always a pressure on the use of the natural resources. So that is why we need to have a alternative raw material for reducing the natural resources. And the last and very important thing is that durability for the longer life and the lesser reconstructions. So whatever we are constructing, it can sustain for a longer period or the longer life, and that can be required. So durability is a major concern, and that is required to be incorporated, or it is required to be given a more importance, and that is why all the codes, our Indian Standard Code, IS code, has also give a due importance to this aspect of durability, and many provisions related to the durability of concrete that is incorporated. So this durability is found to be a more concern in the last couple of 2 decades, and that is why many codes, all the different countries have incorporated many provisions related to the durability for the longer life and the lesser constructions. So when we are talking about a durable concrete, basically concrete design and construction practice, if we see majority of this design philosophy and the construction practice, these are basically the strength driven. Strength is the major concern, strength, and then after the serviceability. But just before few years, just in the last couple of years, the durability is incorporated into the IS code. But before that, very less concerns are there for the durability. Concrete grades up to M20 are now being used for the high-rise building in India. However, due to the escalation in repairs and replacement cost, more attention is now being paid to the durability issues. So as we have seen that concrete structures deteriorated just before in 20 to 25 years of our service life, we found a lot of deterioration in the concrete structures. And that is why this is the major concern to make the durable concrete. Large number of flyovers, some elevated roads are being realized in different parts of the country and involve huge outlay of public money. However, concrete durability is a concern. Large amount of money is involved in such a big projects, but when we are talking about the durability concern, then it is always a suspect. And so these are the issues. Many of the structures which built during the period from 1970 have suffered a premature deteriorations. Concrete bridge deck built during the period now required extensive repairs and renovation and costing more than the original cost of the project. We can found the pictures which we have seen. So similar kind of pictures which we have found at many structures, many concrete structures. We have found such kind of, or even the worse than that. So this kind of the pictures we found at many places in the reinforced concrete structures, which has a service life of more than 25 years or so. Because of a lack of maintenance, because of the durability criteria which have been not incorporated properly during that time in the design as well as construction, these are the pictures we found in majority of the reinforced concrete structures. Multi-story structures in the urban areas requires major repairs every 20 years involving graniting, shotcreting. As we know that the maintenance, because of the lack of continuous maintenance, this kind of the repairs and rehabilitations of the structures required. So concrete construction practice during the next decade should be driven by the durability in addition to the strength. Strength and serviceability, in addition to that, we need to also give a proper attention to these durability issues. So that is why all the code, all the country has found the importance of these durabilities, and they have been incorporated many clause of the durabilities into their code. So a holistic view needs to be taken about the concrete durability. We have to see so that the structures can survive for a longer time. In this context, there are a large number of materials in the market which facilitates the durable constructions. So we have to thought of a different material, alternate materials, or which can be used as an additive to the concrete, addition to the concrete, value addition to the concrete, so that we can achieve the durable constructions. Apart from the material, the construction process have also undergone changes with a view to improving the durability of the finished structures. So when we are talking about the construction, then material as well as the construction process, as the material, new materials arrived, its construction process has also undergone changes with a view to improving the durability. So this is the major concern, and in achieving the durability of the concrete structures, the first steps that we can see, that is the high strength concrete. Of course, normal strength concrete is there, but it is found that it is not to be durable concrete. So that is why how this normal strength concrete is to be made durable. So the first attempt, first evolutions that is in that category, that is a high strength concrete. And this is also a need of the time, because now we are going for a large amount of structures, and when we are going for a large structures, when we need to go for a slim concrete, reduced dimension, naturally the stress level will be increased, and so that we should go for a high strength concrete. So if you can see, as per the code, IS 10262, as per the definition of the code, the concrete which is made up of a normal weight aggregate, concrete made up with a normal weight aggregate with the compressive strength more than 65 megapascal, that is called a high strength concrete. So the days has gone, that is M15 grade concrete or M20 grade concretes are to be used in normal reinforced concrete construction. where also the M25, M30 grids of the concrete has been started. If we think of large span structures, what we can say, the large amount of where the loads are coming to be large amount of loads are coming on the structures, where we can, pardon, anybody? Hello. So, any question, any doubt? So concrete, which has the characteristics compressive strength more than 65 megapascal is nowadays, as per the code, it is known as a high strength concrete. Usually for high strength concrete mixes, specially selected cementitious materials and chemical admixtures, that is superplasticizers, are used, and achieving a low water cementitious material ratio is considered essential. So by using a different cementitious material, chemical admixtures, and even sometimes mineral admixtures also, and having a low water cement ratios, we can achieve a high strength concrete.
Sorry to interrupt you, sir.
Yeah.
I request all the participants, please switch off your mic and camera. Sorry, sir, you can continue.
Yeah. Okay. So as we are talking about the high strength concrete mix, especially that is to be made from a cementitious material, chemical admixtures, that is a super plasticizers, and achieving a low water cementitious material ratios, we can make a high strength concrete. Same raw materials that are used as of the normal strength concrete, with more stringent quality control and more care in the sections of the material. So different materials that can be used here, approximate ranges are given. Of course, one can do a proper mix designing of the high strength concrete, but these are some of the ranges which are given here. And based on the mix design, one can find out the proportion of the different material. So cement usually that is high in the range of 400 to 600 kg per meter cube. Aggregates maximum size 20 mm with the high crushing value, and water cement ratio, basically it is a key parameters, and it will be kept below 0.4 with the superplasticizing agent. Due to the low water cement ratio and important characteristics of the high strength concrete, that is its low permeability, and which is the key to the long term durability in aggressive environment. Hence, high strength concrete can be used where durability rather than the strength is the primary considerations. So you can see that this is the first step in achieving the durability in the concrete to go for a high strength. Because of the low water cement ratios, there is a low permeability, and we can get the dense concrete. So it can work for a longer time. So long-term durability is achieved in the aggressive environment also. IS 10262 2019 shall be used for the mixed design of the high strength concrete. The procedure for proportioning the high strength concrete is very similar to that of the ordinary or standard strength of the concrete. IS 10262 2019, this is 2019 is the new code arrived in, this is a publication 2019, where the complete procedure, entire process is given for designing a mix that is for the high strength concrete. So when we are talking about different material, cementitious material, proper selection of the type of the cement is a very important step for the production of the high strength concrete. Fly ash silica fume, GGBS, ground granulated blast furnace slag, or metakaolin are the widely used cementitious material and pozzolanic ingredients in the high strength concrete. So in addition to the cement, various mineral admixtures such as fly ash, silica fume, GGBS, metakaolin, such kind of a cementitious material can be added into a appropriate proportion. Recommended dosage of the mineral admixtures for the high strength concrete, that is fly ash 15 to 30% is desirable, GGBS 25 to 50%, metakaolin 5 to 15%, silica fume 5 to 10%. So these are the recommended doses prescribed by the IS code based on certain research carried out by many people in the areas of the high strength concrete. So we can add certain mineral admixtures in these proportions as a part of the cementitious material which can replace the cement. Chemical admixtures, high strength concrete mixes usually have a low water cementitious material ratio. So this is generally achieved by a high range water reducing agent, HRWRA. This is a high range water reducing agent. So polycarboxylate ether based PC based superplasticizers that can be used to reduce the water content by 30% or above at the appropriate dosage. And this is the appropriate dosage for the superplasticizers. So water reducing agents or the high range water reducing agents can be used as a superplasticizers for reducing the water demand, that is a water cementitious ratio for making the high strength concrete. These are the just comparison of the conventional concrete with the high strength concrete, and nowadays there is also another word called a ultra high strength concrete. These are some of the range. Conventional concrete nowadays it will be used up to 50 megapascal. High strength concrete nowadays the definition range is up to 100 megapascal, and ultra high strength concrete maybe above more than 200 megapascal. Water binder ratio, that is a water cementitious ratio for normal concrete may be more than 0.5, but if we go for high strength and ultra high strength, where it will be nearly in the range of 0.3 to 0.2. Chemical admixtures, that is not required in conventional concrete, but in high strength concrete and in ultra high strength concrete, it is necessary and essential and necessary. Mineral admixtures, not necessary in conventional concrete, but in high strength concrete, fly ash, silica fumes are commonly used, whereas in ultra high strength concrete, silica fumes and fine powder materials, these are desirable. Fibers, conventional concrete, maybe it is a beneficial that increase the tensile strength of the concrete, but in high strength concrete and in ultra high strength concrete this is necessary. Air entrainment, that is necessary in conventional and high strength concrete, not necessary in ultra high strength concrete. So these are all the comparative criteria for a conventional concrete, high strength concrete and ultra high strength concrete. Then we come to the next part, that is a high performance concrete. That is the next version of the high strength concrete. Actually, high performance concrete, where strength is definitely one of the concern, but in addition to the strength, the performance of the concrete is a very, very essential thing. So looking to the performance criteria laid down by the persons or by the client or by the people, the name high performance concrete has been given. So in a high performance concrete, the strength, durability, these are definitely a concern. But in addition to this thing, the performance criteria that is also to be laid down, and accordingly one has to ensure that the concrete perform during its initial period or during the service period. So some of the performance criteria that should be laid down by the authority or by the client. Let us say that in one of the projects of the United States in response to a widespread cracking of the concrete bridges, widespread cracking of the concrete bridge deck, the construction process moved towards the use of the high performance concrete mixes with the following performance criteria. So this kind of a performance criteria has been laid down by a authority. Let us see that very high early strength concrete that is 17.5 megapascal in 6 hours. High early strength concrete that is 42.5 megapascal in 24 hours. A very high strength that is 86 megapascal in 28 days. Durability factor, it should be more than 80% after 300 cycles of freezing and thawing. See, this is the special criteria. Up to first three criteria are related to the strength, but this fourth criteria you can see it is related to a durability, that 80% after 300 cycles of the freezing and thawing. Water cement ratio of 0.35 or less. So similar type of criteria one has to be fixed up into a high performance criteria, and accordingly the mix has been designed by making a different trials. So trial and errors are definitely required for making such kind of a mix for the high performance concrete. But else otherwise the process that is very similar to the high strength concrete, just to ensure that whatever the performance criteria are laid down, it should be achieved during its performance. So high performance concrete was introduced in India initially for the reconstruction of the pre-stress concrete dome at the Kaiga atomic power project, followed for parts of the reactors at Tarapur, Rajasthan. So many atomic power plants or power projects, this kind of a high performance concretes are used. Subsequently, a number of bridges, flyovers have introduced high performance concrete up to M75 grades in the different parts of the India. So it's already now started in many important projects of using the high performance concrete. So when we are talking about a high performance concrete, the concrete should have the three main criteria. First is the strength, then workability and the durability. So one can lay down the performance criteria based on these three parameters, and accordingly the concrete mix can be determined. Then let us go for the next stage of the concrete, which is evolved, and nowadays it is used at many places. That is the self-compacting concrete. The self-compacting concrete, that is actually it was developed in the Japan initially as a quality assurance measure. But now it is being widely used for the concrete structures worldwide. So yeah, let us see the many component of the structures. I think this is one of the very common scenario of the reinforced concrete structures. When we reduce the size of element, naturally the reinforcement will be increasing, and particularly at the joint, wherever the joints are there are congestion of the reinforcement. Large number of reinforcements are there at the congestion at the joint, and because of that it's not very easy to pass the concrete from these kind of situations. So many components of the structures were very heavily reinforced, and the field engineers found it difficult to place and compact the normal concrete without honeycombs and weaker concrete. So self-concrete compacting concrete was successfully used under these situations. So this is basically because of the need arise due to the congestion of the reinforcement, particularly at the joints or in the reinforced concrete structures. So self-compacting concrete leaving the batching plant is in a semi-fluid state, and is placed into the formwork without the use of the vibrator. You can avoid the vibrator, otherwise vibrator is essential in normal concrete. Due to its fluidity, self-compacting concrete is able to find its way into the formwork and in between the reinforcement and get self-compacted in the process. So the entire process, in that process, the concrete is getting self-compacted, and it can also get the way to go into the formwork, within the formwork, within the congestion of the reinforcement. So we required concrete that can flow. You can see here the picture that it looks somewhat like a semi-fluid state, so which can flow. It is realized by modifying the normal mix component, uh, and in addition to that special new generation, in addition to that special new generation polymer based admixtures are used. So here certain polymer based admixtures are used to get the different properties of this self-compacting concrete. Let us have a look of this video, particularly for this thing. Um, Let us have a look of this video. Is this video visible?
Sir, video gets stopped.
Video gets stops. I'll
Yes.
once again I will start. Is it visible?
Yes, sir. It is
Yes,
visible.
sir. Yes, sir.
See how flowable this concrete is. So when it is poured into element, you can see the place at which it is going to reach into the concrete. So this is the characteristics of the self-compacting concrete. So now you can see that this kind of concrete can easily pass even though there is a congestion of the reinforcement, and it is also self-compacted. So that is why the name is given to a self-compacting concrete. So due to its high fluidity, the traditional method of measuring the workability by slump does not work. I think all of you are come now at least recall that there are various tests which are used for the workabilities of the concrete. So in which certain modifications are required, because the slump you can see here, we are not able to get the slump that is normally we are using in the normal concrete. So that is why some different ways this kind of a concrete can be tested as far as the workability is concerned. So see here the slump which is visible in the normal concrete, and see the slump which is available for the self-compacting concrete. So here we'll be not able to get the slump which is available in the normal concrete. So that is why there are different ways of measuring the workabilities of the self-compacting concrete. The diameter of the spread of the concrete is measured as an indication of the workability of the self-compacting concrete. So this is called the slump flow, and that is in the range of 600 to 800 mm.
Sir, your voice is not clear, sir. Unmute yourself, sir.
Sir, you are muted.
Sir, please unmute your mic. Sir, please unmute your mic.
Hello, sir. Please unmute your mic, please.
અવાજ આવે છે બેટા શાસનનો અવાજ આવે છે એમણે મ્યુટ હમણાં કરી બાકી હમણાં સુધી મેં સાંભળ્યું તો અવાજ આવે છે
Hello. Hello. Is it?
કોણે કર્યા?
Hello. Is it audible now? Am I audible?
Audible, sir. Audible.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes.
Actually, I have not unmuted. Somewhere, maybe in the process. Sometimes it may be muted. I'm not sure. Right? So, shall I repeat some of the things? Because one slide may require to be repeated. Okay?
Yes, yes,
No, sir. You may continue, sir. No issue. You may continue, sir.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Is it okay?
Yes, sir.
Perfect, sir.
Okay. So due to high fluidity, the traditional method of measuring workability that is not to be okay, particularly in the self-compacting concrete. So apart from the use of the superior grade chemical admixtures, the physical composition of the concrete for self-compacting concrete has also undergone changes. So the concrete is required to have a more fine aggregates, and compulsorily any of the mineral admixtures such as fly ash or GGBS, silica fume, metacoilin, rice husk ash that can be used. Its application area, self-compacting concrete, as we have seen, it may be used in precast concrete applications or for the concrete placed on the site. SCC is used to cast the section with highly congested reinforcement, and in the areas that presents restricted access to placement and consolidation, including the construction of tunnel lining section and the casting of the hybrid concrete sections, filled steel tubular column. It may be manufactured in a site batching plant or in a ready-mix concrete plant and delivered to a site by a truck mixtures. It may be placed either by pumping or pouring into a horizontal or a vertical form. So some of the chemical admixtures, this is to be used, these are the superplasticizers. WMA water reducing agents or high range water reducing agents are the low molecular designed to in the concrete mixtures in order to viscosity modifying agent. Molecular weight water soluble polymers used to raise the viscosity of the water and used to increase the viscosity without increasing the chances of segregation. This is the important.
Sir, you are not audible.
Of
Sir, your voice is fluctuating. We are not able to hear you.
fly ash chances of shrinkage and the like fly ash, GGBS material can be used whenever there is a size less than 4.75 mm. Coarse aggregate maximum size generally limited to 20 mm. Rounded aggregate shall be used. Ordinary potable water that can be used. Concrete mix can only be classified as the self-compacting concrete if the requirement for all requirement for the different characteristics that can be satisfied. So these characteristics are the filling ability that is known as a flowability. Second is a passing ability. Third one is a segregation resistance, and fourth one is a viscosity. These are the four characteristics. If it is being there with the concrete, then and then the concrete can be said as the self-compacting concrete. So whenever we are going to make a self-compacting concrete, one has to verify this for these characteristics: filling ability, passing ability, segregation resistance, and the viscosity. So various workability tests that is to be used for the self-compacting concrete, which are a little bit different from the normal strength concrete. So for slump flow, V funnel test, L box, U box, fill box, J ring. So these are the various tests that is to be prescribed by the code. And whenever we are working with the self-compacting concrete, there are different workability. These are the workability tests that one needs to be conducted. These are the list of the tests that can be used for slump flow or a slump cone, which is a normal slump cone which is used in a normal concrete. But here different size are there. So which is basically used for the filling ability. J ring, that is for the passing ability. V funnel, filling ability. L box, passing ability. U box, passing ability. Fill box, passing ability. So a V funnel, that is also used for the segregation resistance. So whatever properties of the self-compacting concrete we have discussed, for that for measuring these properties, the different tests which are required to be conducted. And these are the acceptance criteria which is prescribed for suppose the slump flow test will be there, then the typical ranges, minimum and maximum ranges are given. J ring is there, V funnel is there. So what are the different acceptance criteria? So this acceptance criteria is given in this table. So whenever we are going to test whenever we are going to make the workability test of the self-compacting concrete, these are the acceptance criteria to be followed. Then and then it can be used, otherwise it cannot be used. These are some of the pictures just to have the idea. The cone which is to be used, very similar to a normal strength concrete. but instead of measuring the height of the cone, here we are going to measure the diameter of the flow. So when we lift the cone, the concrete is going to flow, and whatever diameter of the flow will be there, it is going to measure D1 and D2, and based on that it can be decided. So this is a J-ring test. So here it is basically for the passing ability. Concrete is placed into a container, and then after the door will be open. So concrete will be passed through this thing. So this is just simulating the reinforcement which is put it on the different reinforced concrete elements, and how it is going to pass, how the concrete is going to pass from the things. So it is simulating similar kind of things here. So J-ring test, similarly V funnel test. So this is also the passing ability as well as segregation of the concrete. So both the properties can be measured. L box test, here the concrete is to be poured, and then after the door will be open. When the door will be open, how it is going to travel. So based on that, the workability of the concrete is to be decided. So this is the L box test. Similarly, U box test is also there. Again, it is a similar type, but concrete is to be filled in the one half, and then after the doors will be open. So how it is going to be moved on other sides. So these are sliding doors, and concrete is to be moved on other sides. So to what extent, to what height it is going to move. So based on that, the workabilities can be measured. So this is the U box test, and this is the fill box test. So all these tests which we have discussed here, that will measuring the workability, but basically the 4 different characteristics which we have discussed. So that will be used for the self-compacting concrete. So self-compacting concrete, basically nowadays it is used at many places. The mixed constituents of the self-compacting concrete, you can design this mix by using IS 10262/2019. Code has given the detailed criteria and step-by-step procedures for designing the getting the mixed design of the self-compacting concrete. Typical range of the mixed constituents. So sufficient amount of fines, preferably in the range of 400 kg per meter cube to 600 kg per meter cube, inclusive of the suitable quantities. Fine aggregates content typically 48 to 60% by mass of the total aggregates. Water content between 150 to 200 kg per meter cube. These are the criteria prescribed in IS 10262. Use of the high range water reducing admixtures like polycarboxylate ether base high range water reducing admixtures, which can water reduction maybe more than 30%. And sometimes also using a viscosity modifying admixtures in appropriate doses, just to maintain this that segregation will not take place. There is a need to go for a viscosity, because viscosity modifying agents. So chemical admixtures like a water reducing agent for reduction in the water content, and viscosity modifying admixtures are the essential need for the self-compacting concrete. After realization of the need of the durable concrete structures, the composition of the concrete has undergone changes. To reduce the cement-based content, both the water content and the cement content must be reduced as much as possible. So this is basically the need of today's concrete, to reduce the water content and the cement content. Concrete mixes can be produced by blending the cement with the mineral admixtures either in the batching plant or in the cement plant. This enhances the service life of the concrete structures in a cost-effective manner. So So the addition for concrete mixes can be produced by blending the cement with the mineral admixtures. That is one of the need of the today's concrete, and this can be achieved in the self-compacting concrete or even high-strength concrete. So mineral admixtures are essential. So use of mineral admixtures where fly ash is the first contendant that is to be used as a replacement of the cement. Thermal power stations are left with an undesirable byproduct that is known as a fly ash in large quantity, which is not able to effectively utilize or dispose of. So it is basically a byproduct of a thermal power stations. Currently in 2018, more than 120 million tons of the fly ash are generated annually, and the storage and disposal has been costing the power stations substantially unproductive expenditures. So huge amount of byproduct that is a fly ash is generated by this thermal power station, and its disposal is also a matter of problem. So unfortunately, all the fly ash available at the power station is not fit for use as a mineral admixtures directly. Fly ash as a mineral admixtures should conform to IS 3812. Such material is available in finer streams of the electrostatic precipitators fitted to the power generation system. So all the fly ash which is directly getting from the thermal power station cannot be used, but it can be processed. Uh, so the coarser materials are required to be processed before being considered for use as a mineral admixtures for the concrete. There are only a few processing units in India, including Nasik thermal power stations. So process fly ash will be used. As per the Eurocode concrete, only processed fly ash can be permitted as a mineral admixtures in the concrete. And the code limits the use of the fly ash up to about 30% replacement of the cement, and the actual percentage of the replacement depends that can be carried out by the different trials mixes can be performed, and based on the trial mixes one can determine the mix proportion by using the fly ash cement with the addition of the fly ash cementitious material. There is also another evolvement in the fly ash, that is a high volume fly ash concrete. So high volume fly ash concrete that represents an emerging technology for highly durable and resource efficient concrete structures. Laboratory and field experience have shown that the fly ash from the modern coal fired thermal power plants, when used in the large volume, that is in the range of 50 to 60% biomass of the cementitious material, that is able to impart the excellent permeability in fresh concrete at a water content that is 15 to 20% lesser than without the fly ash. So to obtain the adequate strength at early stage, further reduction in the mixing water content can be achieved with better aggregate grading and use of the superplasticizers. So basically in high volume fly ash concrete, we can go beyond 50 to 60% replacement of the cement. So this can be also a emerging technology for getting the highly durable and resource efficient concrete structures. High volume fly ash concrete has now been successfully used in few projects in India. All self-compacting concrete in India use high volume fly ash concrete in the extent of 50% cement replacement. Some concrete roads being built by the NHAI have also used high volume fly ash concrete, including 4-laning of Satara Kolhapur National Highway project. So in many national highway projects in the pavement, they are using a high volume fly ash concrete, and where the fly ashes are in the range of 50 to 60% of replacement of the cements. There is another mineral admixtures which is to be used as a replacement of the cement or cementitious material, that is known as a GGBS, known as a ground granulated blast furnace slag. The problem associated with the quality of the fly ash that does not exist in case of GGBFS, as the produce is the outcome of grinding to the required particle. Basically, the process of GGBS is just by grinding the particles, and that is why whatever the problems which we are facing with the fly ash, that cannot be exist with the GGBFS. The use of GGBFS as a mineral admixtures should be preferred despite long lead for end users in certain part of the India far from the steel plants. So this is one of the issues of using the GGBS, that it can be getting from the far away places from the steel plant. So GGBS sold in the India is of the uniform quantity. As far as the quality is concerned, there won't be any trouble because it can be achieved through the grinding of the particles. So for many landmark structures such as Burj Dubai, as you know, it is one of the not one of but the tallest building of the world right now, and in this building also GGBFS has been extensively used as a mineral admixtures, even though the material is being imported from other countries, resulting into a landed cost being more than that of the cement. So in spite of getting a more cost, this was taken as a conscious decision with a view to obtaining a more durable structures. As know that Burj Dubai, it is a tallest structures, and it has to be survived for a very longer time. So durability is a major concern. So looking to the durability aspect into consideration, the GGBS is used into structures of Burj Dubai. Right. In India, the use of GGBFS has been fairly limited in spite of all the technological advantages. The Indian Concrete Code permits up to 70% of the cement replacement where GGBFS is used. Technically, the use of GGBFS is more effective only at replacement level of 50% or more. For a number of structures in port in Andhra Pradesh, typically M40 concrete mix contained with 100 kg of cement with 300 kgs of GGBFS. So in typical range, 50% or more can be used as a cement replacement GGBS thing. Next, I will go, and that is in the range is of Portland slag cement. So Portland slag cement is also available and useful for ensuring the durability of the concrete structures. Due to the proximity of the steel mills, basically it is a byproduct of the steel mills. So due to the proximity to the steel mills, the Portland slag is generally produced in a location close to the steel plants. Here again, due to the bulky nature of the product, the transportation cost is predominant. Another issue concerning the quality of the PSC is the actual percentage replacement while making the PSC. This is a major concern in using the Portland slag cement, that the actual percentage replacement while making the PSC. This information is not normally displayed on the bag, leaving the user at the disadvantage. Whereas in some of the developed countries, information regarding percentage of the slag utilizing in making the PSC is generally printed on each bag. So this is the concern that is in our country, that this is not to be seriously taken care, in the bags. Next mineral component that is being used as a replacement of the cement or cementitious material. So this is one of the cementitious material. That is a silica fume, condensed silica fume. Sometimes it is also known as a condensed silica fumes. It is basically a byproduct of ferrosilicon industries, and at present an imported product that is of course easily available in the Indian market. The particle size is very small, that is about 100 times smaller than that of the cement. So it can occupy the voids in between the cement particles in a concrete mix, reduces the water demand, and thus contributes a very dense concrete of a high durability. This is one of the advantage of using the condensed silica fumes, because its particle size is 100 times smaller than that of a cement. So that is why it can be that is why it can occupy the voids in between the cement particles, and we can get a denser concrete. The concrete, if the concrete is dense, it is a high durable. So high durable concrete can be achieved. Normally, it is used in a less percentage, 5 to 10% of the cement can be replaced by the condensed silica fumes in order to produce the durable concrete. And the product is expensive and is used in the developed countries only for a very high strength concrete. So as we have seen the ultra high strength concrete, the silica fume is the essential component that will be there, about 75 megapascal or so. If we have to go, then there is a need of using the silica fume as one of the cementitious replacement particles. Actually, reinforcement is not a part of the concrete, but when we are talking about a concrete structures, so reinforcement is definitely there, because as we know that the concrete are weak in the tension, and that is why the reinforcement are to be inserted into the concrete to increase the tensile strength of the concrete. So that is why indirectly these reinforcements can be increased, enhance the tensile strength of the concrete. So that is why a little bit of these reinforcements are also going to discuss here, that what kind of advancements are there in the reinforcement that will also use to make a advanced concrete, just to increase the tensile carrying capacity, and correspondingly the compressive capacity would also increase. So the revised Bureau of Indian Standard Code that provides a 4 grades of the reinforcement characterized by the yield strength, that is FE 415, 500, 550 and 600. Each of the first 3 grades is also available with the superior ductile properties, and it can be nomenclature as the 415D or 500D or 550D or 550D. D stands for the superior ductility or the superior ductile property. Primarily, the ductile grades specify a higher elongations. Ductility is one of the major concern in making the structures under reinforced, as well as in making the structures earthquake resistant. So to make the structures ductile, it is always preferred to use the ductile reinforcement. So use of higher grade reduces the tonnage of the steel in compression member. So steel requirement will be reduced. Compression member columns substantially, result into a decongested reinforcement and facilitate the easy placement and vibration of the concrete. Right? So we can go for 500 to 550 or 600. The reinforcement stress would be increased. So naturally the less number of reinforcement will be used, and because of that there is a less number of less congestion of the reinforcement, and hence the concrete can be easily placed. Just a minute, 1 minute. So use of the reinforcement, high grade of the concrete with the superior ductile property is used. So FE 415 500s are easily available in the market. FE 550 is now being offered by some of the prime producers like Tata, SAIL, etc. And after the revision of the code, FE 550 is also offered in selected diameter. FE 500 bars are now used for numbers of high-rise buildings, bridges, flyover in the India. Lapping of bars result in congestion. This is one of the very important criteria, that when we are going lapping of the bar, there is a congestion of the steel reinforcements. So it creates difficulty in proper placement and compaction of the concrete, and of course more expensive for the large diameter bars. So couplers are nowadays preferred instead of the lappings. So as we know that 1/3 of the length are going to be lapped. So particularly at these places there is a more congestion of the reinforcement, and because of that the concrete cannot be easily placed there, or it cannot be easily placed. So instead of going for the lapping of the reinforcement, if we can use couplers, then this problem can be reduced. So with the widespread use, the cost of the coupler has come down. So coupler design and manufacturers permits the joint in some in the same plane without the need for staggering, as in the case of a lapping. As you can see in this picture, these kind of couplers can be provided so that the congestion of the reinforcement can be reduced, and concrete can be easily passed through it. And when the concrete can be easily passed through it, I think we can get a more durable concrete. So reinforcement, of course, it's not a part of this concrete, but ultimately when we are making a concrete, it is one of the requirement, and that is why one can think of using the higher strength of the reinforcement, or one can also think of such kind of a mechanisms just to reduce the congestion. And with the help of by using these kind of things, the concrete can be achieved in a more durable form. Then we can also use a certain specific cement like ternary blended cement. Blended cement is one of the evolvement to be there. So ternary blended cements containing the combination of a fly ash slag or fly ash silica fume, or silica or slag and the silica fume. So in addition to the cement, normal cement and then fly ash or slag. So there are three different constituents are there for the cementitious material. So that is what is known as the ternary blended cements. So by combination of cement with fly ash and slag, or fly ash and silica fume, or silica slag and the silica fumes are commonly used for concrete in many parts of the world. The European standards, of course, regular our standards are not available, but European standards are used for getting mixed proportion and other related criteria. For cement, list 27 different combinations for the cement, and ternary cement containing a liquid proportion of limestone filler and 20 to 30% GGBFS provides a good resistance to chloride ingress and good performance in the sulfate environment of low C3A Portland cement. So blended cements are used particularly for such kind of requirement. Basically, it gives a good chloride resistance, a good resistance to chloride ingress, and good performance in sulfate environment of low C3A Portland cement. Just a minute. So this is some of the pictures that is of the ternary blended cement. You can see the flowability characteristics, at the same time the segregation resistance, and all these things can be achieved very well into a ternary blended cements. Then photocatalytic cement. This is a patented Portland cement developed by Italy Cementitious Group. The photocatalytic component use the energy from the ultraviolet rays to oxidize the most organic and some inorganic compounds. Air pollutant that would basically result in the discoloration of the exposed surfaces are removed from the atmosphere by components, and the residues are washed off by the rain. So basically this cement can be used to produce the concrete and plaster product that save on maintenance cost while they ensure the clear environment. In addition to the Portland cement binders, the product contains the photocatalytic titanium dioxide particle. So the cement is already being used for a sound barrier, concrete paver block, and the facade elements, architectural planner, pavement, and concrete masonry units. So this kind of cement basically used very well into where there is a noise barrier. So somewhere at noise barrier or the concrete paver block, these kind of the cements are used.
Sir, you are not audible.
Crust stones.
Sir, your voice is
Just-
fluctuating. We are not able to hear you.
Yeah. Hello. Network. There is a little network issues are there.
Okay,
Getting some poor connection. So some troubles are there. Coarse aggregate. Basically, there are three types of the coarse aggregates. That is natural gravel, crust stones, or a blend of both of them. Many outstanding structures built in India in the past had used river gravel. That is river gravel as the coarse aggregate for the concrete, including Bhakra Dam or pre-stressed concrete aqueducts and siphons, and large number of pre-stressed concrete bridges, power stations, etc. So river gravels are used as a coarse aggregate. The results are excellent, but the use of the rounded aggregates by virtue of their geometry reduces the cement and water content requirement of the concrete, and thus contributing the economy. So this is one of the essential criteria when we are selecting the coarse aggregate. So use of the rounded aggregates, that is reduces the cement and water content requirement, as well as contributing the economy. Almost 50% of all the concrete produced in the developed world utilizes a natural gravel, and broken stone is used only when gravel is not available within the economic lead. So one can also think of the recycle aggregate. This is one of the need of the today's. As we know that there are large number of construction activities, concrete structures are found across the globe, and when it is going to be deteriorated, there is a need of the demolition, and it's a big question of just keeping all these debris. So it's a matter of big trouble to all of this. So in the last decades or so, a lot of research has been carried out by using the recycle aggregate. So this can be also one of the area where there is a need to seriously think in these directions. So with the continuous development activity worldwide, the availability of the coarse aggregate from natural source or crushed rock are dwindling. At the same time, due to the demolition of the old structures, roads, etc., a large amount of debris is generated annually, and their disposal poses a problem for the individuals and the government. So in many countries, including UK, any demolition agency is not permitted to dispose of the debris except at the predetermined location, which may involve a very long leads and expensive operations. So see, very few countries are there. There is a serious or stringent rules are there for the predetermined locations, particularly for the dispose of such debris. And because of that, you can see there is a heap of all these construction materials are found at many places. So extensive research has now established that the debris can be crushed, processed, and recycled as the coarse aggregate for the fresh concretes. So such recycling solves the above mentioned problems of disposal and also more economical. So many national codes in the developed world permits the use of the recycle aggregates and concrete subject to the safeguards. So looking to this one of the very important issues of how to dispose it, many code has started to reuse it. So there is a criteria, certain national code has already given certain criteria for using of the recycle aggregates. So one can really think of using the recycle aggregates, provided some more research is also required in this direction, and accordingly some other alternate material addition how it can be made. So this can be think over it to get the better and better concrete for the future. Lightweight aggregate is also a need of the today, because we can there is always a pressure on making or reducing the dead load of the structures. So there are manufactured product and are extensively used in all type of structures involving a longer span, where the dead load forms a major component of the loads involved in the design. So such lightweight aggregates are manufactured product using the expanded clay, sintered fly ash, etc. Their contributions to the strength depends on the type and quality of the lightweight aggregate, the size fraction used and the amount of aggregate used, as well as the type and the quality of the binders in the concrete. However, in addition to the lightweight aggregate in concrete, lightweight aggregate in the concrete reduces the modulus of elasticity. So this is again a concern that it reduces the modulus of elasticity, and that is why the stiffness of the element is also to be reduced. So one can think of using the lightweight concrete very consciously, because it reduces the dead weight of the structures, dead weight of the elements, but at the same time the stiffness is also going to be reduced. So that is why one can take care cautiously using the lightweight aggregate. There is also another thing, that is a self-curing and shrinkage-free concrete. Many people have started using this self-curing and shrinkage-free concrete. Many other alternate materials are there, or even bacterial concrete by using a certain types of the bacterias. Also, people have started research in the direction of getting the self-curing concrete, because whatever cracks are always to be found into the concrete. As the time evolve, some minor crack is slowly and gradually increase as the time progressed. So how to cure such kind of things? Because these small and small cracks later on, if it is not being treated properly, it is deteriorated. So that is why self-curing shrinkage-free concrete is also a need, and one can also discuss in this direction. Italian researchers have produced a concrete by combining combined use of a water reducing admixtures based on the polycarboxylate ether, in order to reduce both the mixing water and the cement. And there is a shrinkage reducing admixtures. Many admixtures are available. So by using a shrinkage reducing admixtures and an expensive agent based on a special calcium oxides. So by making this combination, one can go for a self-curing and the shrinkage-free concrete. The combined use of an expansive agent and a polycarboxylate based water reducing superplasticizers result in a shrinkage free concrete even in the absence of any weight curing. Due to the water reduction caused by the polycarboxylate based superplasticizer at a given water content, there is a reduction in the volume of cement paste and corresponding increase in the amount of aggregate. So both are responsible for significant reduction in the drying sinkage. So by using these polycarboxylate water reducing agents and shrinkage reducing admixtures and expansive agent based on the calcium oxides, one can make a self-curing and the shrinkage free concrete. In the reinforcement, there is also a advancement made in this reinforcement, because as we know that the traditional reinforcement are getting corroded over the period, over the time. Even though it is being used into a concrete, the water and air enters from the small cracks that is to be formed on the concrete, and slowly and gradually the concretes are getting corroded. So corrosion in the concrete is a major concern, particularly for the deterioration. So that in a highly corrosive environment, the use of advanced composite fiber reinforced polymer, so that is known as a FRP bar, is attractive as a replacement of the conventional steel reinforcement. While the FRP materials can be resistant to corrosion, there is a lack of ductility. So this is one of the major concern for the FRP bars, that it is a resistance to corrosion, but there is a lack of ductility. It is more or less brittle material. So at the moment, the FRP reinforcement in India is quite expensive. The main market of the FRP in India is for the structural retrofit for increasing the load capacity to remedy construction defect or the repairs. So this is the nowadays the people are using more these FRP rebars or FRP materials. FRP sheets are also being used in the retrofitting part. So FRP sheets, FRP rebars, these are to be used. So see here, these are the FRP rebars. Reinforcements bars are there. This is a shear reinforcements are there. You can see that we cannot get a right angle kind of a things that is normally observed into a steel reinforcements. So steel rebars are getting quite rectangular shape, whereas here from the corner we cannot get a right angle curvature. Okay, so CFRP, GFRP, AFRP, carbon fiber reinforced plus, so glass fiber reinforced plastics. So these kind of the materials are nowadays available. The main unique characteristics of this FRP, so FRP has a linear elastic, discussed just before a few minutes, that it has a linear elastic behavior. But if we see, then the thing is that if we draw a stress versus strain graph, so it has a linear behavior, but with a brittle fracture. So at a one moment, then after it is going to fail. So brittle fracture is there. So in a load versus deformation or the stress versus strain graph, so it has a linear static behavior with the brittle fracture. Its modulus of elasticity is typically lower than that of the steel. As we know that the slope of this stress versus strain diagram, that is known as the modulus of elasticity. So this modulus of elasticity is also very less in comparison to the steel. So this is also another concern of using the FRP rebars. FRP bars having different mechanical properties and behaviors, having a different mechanical properties and behavior than the steel rebars. FRP bars are anisotropic. Again, this is the concern that we have to deal with. That steel bar is an isotropic material, whereas here this is a anisotropic material. So with a lower strength in the transverse direction. So this is the major concern that FRP bars are having a lower strength in the transverse direction compared to their strength in the longitudinal direction. So in longitudinal direction, we are having a very good strength, right? As the normal rebars are having a strength in the range of 400 to 600 megapascal, whereas here it may be even more, it may be more than 800,000 or even more than that. Whereas in other direction, transverse direction, it has a very low strength. Okay, so this is a major concern of using the FRP rebars into the as a reinforcement. And last is the band strength of the FRP stirrups. It is also a major concern. But anyway, it is also the main important thing is it is a corrosion resistance. And this is also a major concern in the reinforced concrete structures, that it is to be corroded, reinforcements are to be corroded, and section or strength of the structure is reducing. So this is one of the alternates, traditional rebars, traditional steel rebars to the FRP rebars, and making the concrete well. Right? One can also think of the nanotechnology, because nowadays into the various domain. So in concrete technology also the nanotechnology has been introduced. So one can also think of using such kind of a nanotechnology, reducing the particle size of a material to a nanoscale, right? 10 raised to minus 9. So nanoscale often imparts a new property or enhancing the existing one, right? So this type of nanoparticles of a titanium dioxide, which maintains its photocatalytic activity even when mixed with the cement. So this nanoparticle titanium dioxide is having a photocatalytic activity. So when mixed with the cement, so external cement-based surfaces become strongly photocatalytic, leading to a much better appearance and significant reduction in the concentration of pollutants in the surrounding air. See, pollution is also a major concern for the deterioration of the concrete. So one can use such kind of the nanotechnology compounds into our concrete and make the surface better or surface more secured in comparison to the normal concrete. So photoactive titanium dioxide was found to be a more powerful photocatalytic agent when its particle size decreased to a nano size. This makes it ideal vehicle for application into a construction. So this is the powerful. This is titanium dioxide is a powerful photocatalytic agent, right? So a cement binder containing about 5% of active titanium dioxide produces the concrete with a smooth surface and also convert the pollutants, removes them from the surrounding airs, and structures look like it is a very freshly built. This is the very important thing. As you have seen the concrete surface, day by day it is to be deteriorated. So its look is also be deteriorated. Whereas if we are using the element that is titanium dioxides, so one can also achieve the surface. You can see it looks a very fresh concrete. So such kind of the photocatalytic surface of concrete that is built very old in the year of 2000 starting fuller to what is being used nowadays, that is a high strength concrete, self-compacting concrete. Nowadays I think it is being started using in many projects where there is a need of having a more compressive strength, more than M40, particularly in a many big project, mega projects. People are even going for a high strength concrete, high performance concrete, self-compacting concrete. It is a need of the today's. But in addition to that, some of the advanced concrete which is being used with the help of various mineral admixtures that we have discussed and all these things. So I try to be covered more, that is advances which is going to take place in the half a part of that. I try to cover the advances which is used across the globe, across the world, which are to be used in the concrete technology. So I think with all the things I will stop my talk here. I'll just thankful to the GEC Dahod people coordinators to give me a chance to share my views on this topic. And I'm also thankful to all the participants for patiently hearing on all these topics.
Thank you so much, sir, for your enlightening and marvelous session. We are grateful for your time. A special thanks for being here.
So
Yes, sir.
yeah.
Thank you, sir.
So forum is open for if you have any questions or all the things, the forum will be open.
Okay, sir. Thank you. Now all the participants can take a break for 30 minutes and will meet up again at 3:30 p.m. for our final session of the day. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Hello. Kaushal. Yeah. You are not audible.
Hello.
Professor Parikh.
Hold on, Kanan.
Yes, sir.
Kanan, it is requested to the participant to ask the questions. Let them allow the first questions. If there is some questions, the question will be asked. Please ask the questions through the chat session. It is all the participants are. I think my voice is clear, Kanan.
Yes, sir. It's
Yeah.
audible.
Yeah.
Okay. Participants, generally it has been observed that the participants has been joined through as a guest session. So participants are requested that we have created your username and password. If you are joining through username and password through the Microsoft team properly, then it is possible for you to send the detail about your questions and we can ask those questions to the respected expert, sir. Also, we have created the Telegram session. This is the thing to the participants. We have already created the Telegram link. You can share your questions to Telegram link also so that we can ask the same questions to the participants. Actually, what happens, the participants are more than 200, so it is difficult to give a chance to them to ask the questions directly through this session. So we are
True.
advised to the participants to share their questions through the chat
Into a
session.
chat box.
Yes,
Chat
exactly
box.
right. And also we have sent the Telegram link. So send through Telegram also. We can ask. So I request, please, if you have same questions, share over here right now. Another thing is concern about right now today session is concerned. If you have asked some question, please one by one participant can ask the questions also over here. Today I am going to allow today purpose right now I'm going to allow to the participant if they have any question, please ask to respected expert sir Sas. Participant has asked
Sir,
questions.
we have one question, that is it possible to use couplers for steel bars and beams?
Okay. Couplers for steel bars and beams. Basically, see couplers wherever it is being used, it is just to avoid this lapping part, right? So beams, basically the rebars are in the bending. So that is why normally in a beams it is not much preferable, because if it is there, there is a very long length of couplers are required. So right now I have also not seen this kind of a couplers in the beam, but in a column, of course, many places it is being used, right? Because in a beam, rebars basically are in the bending, whereas in the column it is more predominant in the compression. So where the couplers are being effectively used.
Thank you,
Sir,
sir.
sir, one questions from Naveen Joshi, sir. They ask that about the lightweight aggregate, which type of lightweight aggregate in heavy load buildings to be used?
Pardon? Which type of?
Which question is about which type of lightweight aggregate?
So basically, a type means whose specific weight is lesser than the normal weight aggregate. This can be treated as a lightweight aggregate, right? So the aggregates having a specific weight which are lesser than this normal weight, such can be treated and it can be used.
Uh, Sir, there is no more questions which has been right now anywhere over here. So once again, I thankful to you for such a nice session, and I once again thankful to you to devote your precious time for this particular FDP. Thank you,
Yeah,
sir.
thank you. Thank you.
Okay.
Okay, thanks.
Okay. Now all the participants are requested. The next session will be started at the 3:30. And once again, I have sent to all participants the Microsoft Team username and password once again through their registered email address on the AICTE Atal portal. So I have already sent. I have also sent all the links for each session. Actually, links are same for all the session, but even though session-wise link has been sent to your email address as well as has been sent to the Telegram link. And even though you find any kind of the difficulty, you may communicate through the Telegram link, through phone also. So thank you very much for the cooperation from the each and every participants, also from the experts, sir. We will meet after half an hour. Thank you, sir, and thank you all participants. क्वेश्चंस नहीं आता सर